If it turned out that only 1 out of every 1,000 people are able to accomplish what you're trying to do, would you keep going? Hi everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to Tread Talks, where I walk on this treadmill to stay in shape while making videos for you fine people. If you've been following this channel since the beginning, then you know that it all started when I lost 60 pounds in 90 days. And ever since then, I've been slowly trying to lose the next 50, with the dream being to eventually get six-pack abs and then be able to live the rest of my life in the happiness that comes from being fit. But underneath that dream is the reality that I had to come to terms with when I was defining success. The truth is that statistically speaking, the number of people that go from morbidly obese like I was to being thin and staying that way for longer than 5 years rounds down to 0. Every study says so, there's no study saying otherwise. And I came across this information as I was trying to muster up the willpower to make that push to lose 60 pounds. And so it really forced me to redefine what I meant by success. And I'm sharing this with you because it may be helpful beyond the realm of losing weight. Okay, so let's start with the data, and remember we're talking about people who are morbidly obese, so anyone with a body mass index of greater than 40. I was at around 44 when I started losing weight. In a meta-analysis of every long-term weight loss study conducted in the US, what was found is that you're able to take off some modest amount of weight, maybe 5 or 6% of your original body weight, and keep that off over time. But anything beyond that, anything that involves going from actually fat to actually thin and staying there for over 5 years, the numbers behind that are so low that you would have a better chance of surviving a gunshot wound to the head. What's being understood more clearly now is that the body makeup of someone who's, let's say, 175 pounds after losing large amounts of weight, their body makeup is much different than someone who's been 175 pounds their whole lives. Exercise benefits them less, calories are more likely to be stored as fat, and the urge to eat occurs far more often. Or as one article put it,
their still plump bodies were acting as if they were starving and were working overtime to regain the pounds they lost.
It's like being an addict where the withdrawal symptoms last for decades. It's not a very hopeful picture, and it's what I had to contend with when coming up with my umpteenth plan for losing weight, and it was really disheartening. In my mind, I had only one option for success, and that was achieving my goal of being in great shape and living that way for the rest of my life. The only other option I saw available to me was just giving up altogether and then living my life as a slowly inflating human being. And now I was getting information that success, as I had defined it, was statistically impossible for me to achieve. What made the difference for me was coming up with a new way to define success for myself. And if it sounds like I simply moved the goalposts on what I was trying to achieve, you're right, I did. And that's because the goalposts were too damn far away to begin with. Instead of defining success as being skinny for the rest of my life, what if I defined it by whether I was continuing to try for the rest of my life? Maybe I couldn't achieve perpetual, fitness, but maybe I could live a lifetime of never giving up. It's kind of like the journey the character of Data takes in Star Trek: The Next Generation. And if you haven't already labeled me a nerd, well, there you go, now you can. Nerd! His dream as an android is to somehow become human, even though that's likely never going to happen. And yet he considers the most human thing that he can do is to continue striving and trying even though the odds are against him. Success in his mind is defined not by achieving humanity, but by continuing to try. Because if you think about it, isn't that at the core of what it means to be human? That we continue to try and to strive to move forward, even though in the end, death will wipe out most of it anyways. Defining success this way was helpful to me because it took the pressure off me to have this be the single effort that works for the rest of my life. In fact, I can now readily say, yes, this effort will likely fail just like the ones that have come before. But what I also know is that if it fails, I'm going to try something else. And I'm going to continue trying new things until the end of my life. And along the way, I'll probably end up being a healthier person than if I had simply resigned myself to my statistical fate. And beyond that, at the end of my life, I'm not going to be regretful that I never made it to the proverbial mountaintop. Instead, I'll be proud that I'm still trying to climb. Okay, and now this is becoming a little bit of a personal pep talk, but I hope that it's helpful to you too. And if you find yourself in between efforts to make some sort of change, and you're starting to lose hope that you'll ever succeed, my best encouragement is to define success instead by the fact that you're continuing to try. In the meantime, I appreciate you watching. If you like this video and you'd like to see what comes next, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you very much, and have a great day.